Bing bong, I clickbaited you. Sort of. The title of this video isn't literally true. I hope you're old enough to get that. It seemed like the best title to describe this video to an outsider though. I tried my best, you guys. There were a lot of comedy songs in the 2010s that followed the same structure though, and I haven't really seen it before or after. Somebody has got to talk about this. I noticed a trend as a teenage YouTube watcher that nobody else seemed to talk about as far as I know. I've tried looking for other people talking about this to no avail. It's entirely possible that I'm late to a tired conversation, but I haven't found it. It falls on me to talk about this. I'm the chosen one. When I was born, my parents dedicated me to this very purpose. What I'm referring to is what I call situation and response songs. I originally called this the Universal Solution song, but that doesn't perfectly describe every song in this genre, so I think this is a better title. The basic structure is this. The verses of these songs list a bunch of problems.
My cat explodes.
Some poser hands me cake at a birthday party.
No one shows up to your party.
And then the chorus brings a standardized response.
I got a safety torch.
I bust out my boombox and play this song. Don't you ever interrupt me while I'm reading the book.
There are exceptions to this description, but all of these songs match the vibe of the sort of song I'm talking about here. When I was a teenager watching YouTube sketch comedy all the time, I felt like I couldn't escape this sort of song. Everywhere I went, it followed me. Again, I haven't seen anyone else talking about this, so it's up to me to figure out where this trend even started. My theory is that it began with I Threw It on the Ground by The Lonely Island.
I threw it on the ground.
So the video starts out with Andy Samberg walking through the city streets when a man hands him an energy drink. He doesn't want to let the man poison him, so he throws it on the ground. It's a bit of an overreaction for sure, and now there's glass littered on the ground, but to a certain extent, his reaction makes sense. Energy drinks are bad for you, so there's a certain sense in which the moral thing to do would be to throw it on the ground. Andy's sort of making a statement here. Next, Andy goes to his favorite hot dog stand, and the guy working there offers him a free one for his loyalty as a customer. While this is clearly a nice thing to do, Andy takes it as a great offense and throws it on the ground. He doesn't want to be a charity case. From there, the song continually escalates, with Andy's reactions becoming less understandable and more extreme with every event. Regular interactions are treated as hostilities by this pretentious character. He throws his so-called girlfriend's phone on the ground after she hands it to him saying it's his dad. He knows his dad isn't a phone. A kid offers him a cake at their birthday party and he throws it on the ground. Then he just starts throwing random stuff on the ground. It's clear that this is less of a moral stance and more just an obsession with throwing things on the ground. Finally, Elijah Wood and Ryan Reynolds are sitting at a table minding their own business when Andy flips it over. He claims that they tried to give him their autograph, but they weren't even interacting with him. They get upset with Andy naturally and chase after him to tase him in the butt. Andy tries to present himself as a martyr, but he's been a blatantly insufferable prick throughout the whole song. He tries to moralize these stories as being a problem with the system, but really he just likes throwing things on the ground and overreacting. The song, along with the music video, have a lot of elements that make them satisfying. The verses have this confident swagger that leads well into the chorus. The chorus starts with Andy yelling that he threw an object on the ground, and then we see the slow motion of the object breaking as it touches the ground. The electronic beat explodes along with it. As far as I can tell, this is patient zero for the sort of song I'm talking about. The situation described in each verse is a benign social interaction, and the response is to throw the object on the ground. The Lonely Island actually had a couple other examples of this sort of song. Probably the best example would be their song Boombox.
Then I walk in the room, hold my boombox high.
In this song, Andy Samberg goes into all sorts of social situations where people don't naturally connect with each other. He pulls out a boombox and it breaks down their barriers. People start dancing. The situation is a stuffy social environment, and the response is to pull out the boombox and play music. This has to be one of my favorites. I think there's genuine commentary about the power of music, and Julian Casablancas absolutely kills it.
Everyone was wearing fingerless gloves.
I think I need to start listening to the Strokes more, actually. Also, notice that Andy sings the verses in kind of a lower, raspy voice.
Peddling the boiled goose.
This seems to be a pretty common trend in this genre. We're gonna see it a fair amount in this video. In the last verse of the song, we see the familiar setup. Andy walks into a retirement home and turns on the turbo bass for his boombox. What happens next is, shoot. My parents might see this video. The ending of the song is fairly offensive because it's offensive to vegans. The old people start eating boiled goose. Definitely nothing else happens. Don't look up the video, Mom. The last Lonely Island song that I have to talk about is The Creep.
It's real easy to do, and it's called the creep.
This one is more of a break from the formula as it's presented as a dance, but I found that it's more of a universal response than it is an actual dance. As they explain the dance, they essentially just list out a bunch of random situations that would offer the opportunity to be a creepy guy, and then they do the creep. Often they're just creeping on women, but there is one time where they're creeping on their parents offending vegans. Also, fellas, if you were worried that you wouldn't get creeped on, fear not. Nicki Minaj gets a verse about how she creeps on guys in locker rooms. So here we see the situation is an opportunity to be creepy, and the response is to do the creep. Once again, the Lonely Island kills it with the music here.
Pump this in your speakers, you a certified creeper.
I can't exactly say it had me rolling over laughing, but it's got a really entertaining energy to it. I will say I do like the premise of a dance that's essentially just being creepy. It wasn't just the Lonely Island who did this format of song, though. This was something that pretty much every YouTube sketch comedian was doing back in the day. Smosh is one of the most blatant examples, and it feels pretty obvious to me that they were inspired by the Lonely Island. Oh, also, congratulations to Smosh for buying back their channel. Fire Truck has to be one of the clearest examples of this format.
Here's the thing about saying fire truck.
The song starts out with Ian and Anthony describing the premise of this song. Instead of saying a certain profanity, you can say fire truck, which has the same beginning and ending, but just more letters in the middle. The rest of the song is just a series of random problems that might cause one to say a profanity. After each event, they say fire truck instead. There's a long list of problems, but the response is always to say fire truck. It's probably one of the simplest concepts to execute that I'm going to talk about in the whole video. All they had to really do was think of some random unfortunate events and say fire truck afterward. I feel like a lot of the enjoyment of this video was less that it was particularly funny and more that they were almost saying the F word. A lot of the appeal of Smosh from my memory was that we were teenagers and this was some of our first exposure to edgy comedy. I'm deathly afraid of pissing people off because I'm such a small channel, but a lot of these songs had a mildly entertaining premise and then stretched it really thin, but had a really strong beat to back it up. Don't get me wrong, I feel very fondly towards every song in this video. I have a lot of nostalgia for them, and I think they're all super catchy. It just feels like they don't really hold up well under critical examination.
And if you didn't like this song, go fire truck yourself.
Oh, do you remember what I said about the appeal of Smosh being that they were incredibly edgy? That's especially true for the next song we're talking about. So, Smosh frames this video as if they were hired to make an advertisement for Little Smokies. They say that they were fired, but they released the video anyway. If they really were fired, it would be pretty clear why. I dare not show footage of the chorus of this song. Just from the title, you can probably tell that it's offensive to vegans. Mom, I swear that's the only reason this video is offensive. Don't watch it. We see several situations in this song. There are a few different scenarios. Playing video games and needing a snack. You're on a date and the girl is picky. Her mom gets mad because you were out too late. You're hanging out with the boys. You're bored at home alone. The response is in the title of the song, and I will not repeat it because it offends, well, you know who it offends. Once again, the beat is really catchy. There's something really captivating about the back and forth between the verses that alternate between silly situations and the chorus, which is a reliable sort of punchline. I always felt bad watching this as a teenager, so I have like this weird guilty nostalgia for it. That didn't really stop me from watching it though, I gotta be honest. My favorite sketch comedian from this time was definitely Julian Smith. My favorite video of his was probably reading a book.
I'm reading the book, man, I'm reading the book.
This might be among the more strange examples of the situation and response type of song. The situation is that he's reading a book and someone interrupts him, and the response is for him to tell them not to interrupt him while he's reading a book. The comedy here is derived from the inappropriateness of the response. If you get pulled over, it's probably not a good idea to yell at the cop for interrupting your reading session. If your wife makes food, it's a kind gesture that should be appreciated. You shouldn't steal a kid's present. It's actually okay to read a library book without buying it. You don't have to get defensive offensive about it. I remember thinking this was the funniest thing in the world as a kid. I don't even care if it's actually funny. This is an automatic 10 out of 10 for me. The chorus slaps so hard too. This has got to be one of my top 5 choruses. It's right up there with the greats. Yet again, he's doing the low raspy voice.
At the library where they call me a crook.
I feel like you could do a pretty seamless mashup between this and Meat in Your Mouth.
Put that meat in your mouth. I'm reading a book. Put that meat in your mouth. I'm reading a book.
I don't know what it is about this genre that everybody does this. Is it because of the Lonely Island?
Rock to bottom, rock to bottom.
I'm gonna talk about a lesser known example here. Josh Holt only had 3,000 subscribers, but he was a friend of Julian Smith, so I found him that way. His content seemed to be of a similar nature, but he never found the same success. His biggest hit was a song called Rock to Bottom. I gotta say though, you couldn't get away with making this video today. Oof.
You drink too much Coca-Cola? You feel like you just can't stop?
That's a pretty rough Asian stereotype. It's a short little song where the situations are minor social crimes, like checking your Facebook at inappropriate times or watching too much reality TV. The response is to hit rock to bottom. Yeah, there's not much to this one. I just want to point out that it exists. I almost didn't include this one because it's kind of a stretch, but it sort of fits, and this is my video. Toby wakes up Tim Tim with fears of a monster, but Toby has a solution. He has safety torches which will make Timmy feel safe. He accidentally creates a fire with the torches, so his response is safety water. After making a giant mess and essentially accomplishing nothing, Toby leaves victoriously while also billing Tim Tim's parents $500. Again, this fits the format a little less. The situation and response are dynamic, where the situation starts out as potential for a monster, and then the response is to place torches. Then the situation becomes that there's a fire, and the response is safety water. I think I got into this song because I really wanted to play Minecraft, and I thought this was a Minecraft song. Looking back, I have a really hard time telling whether it was supposed to be a Minecraft song or not, though. Minecraft had torches and water that you could put into a bucket, but I just don't know. Nothing else in the video has anything to do with Minecraft. Gonzo SSM's animations always slap, though. As a teenager, I was so obsessed with Tobuscus's music.
I threw it on the ground.
Does anyone else remember I Threw It on the Ground Part 2? Yeah, for some reason Tobuscus made a sequel to the Lonely Island song. The production value is a lot lower, but for some reason this song really stuck with me. Toby's song is entirely fixated on 8-hour energy drinks. Like the original song, Toby initially rejects an 8-hour energy drink and throws it on the ground. Afterward, he throws another guy's 8-hour energy drink on the ground. He says, "It's 5 o'clock p.m. You'll be up till 1 in the morning. What are you gonna do? Watch Braveheart twice? No, that's too much Braveheart." I have no idea why I quote that all the time. Pretty much anytime someone says it's 5 o'clock p.m., I quote this, and not a single person has ever gotten it. If you know me in real life, please watch this video so that I can quote it without looking like an idiot. I'm begging you. The production value on this song is pretty bad, and I don't know why Toby's so focused on energy drinks, but there's just a special place in my heart for this song. The last song I want to talk about is Rub Some Bacon on It by Rhett and Link. I would consider this song to be the archetypical example of the situation and response song. It starts out with Rhett accidentally nailing his finger to a birdhouse. He calls 911 and Link responds, telling him to rub some bacon on it. Then we launch into several situations which are just random problems, and every time the response is to rub some bacon on it. The situations get steadily more absurd, but the solution never changes. I guess this song is somewhat funny, but the appeal of it is much more charm than actual humor. The chorus is a fun little harmony, and I'd say it's reminiscent of the Beach Boys, but I don't really know. I'm a fake fan. They are boys on the beach, though. Also, the song is a pretty good snapshot of internet humor at the time. Remember when everyone was obsessed with bacon? Remember Julian Smith? They've got a reference to Reddit. The premise is a little funny, but not laugh out loud hilarious. It is kind of entertaining to think that you could solve every problem just by rubbing bacon on it. I find it interesting that at the beginning of the music video, the bacon actually seems to solve the problems, but by the end, it doesn't look like it does anything. Oh, shoot. Sorry, Mom. I forgot that this one would also be offensive to vegans. This one is definitely offensive for the same reason as the other videos. I promise, nothing is going on in the other videos.
No meat, no cheese. You ain't lying. That's vegan.
I think that's all I have to say about these videos. I don't really have a point besides, hey, this is something I noticed. The problem with musical comedy is that it often ends up being less funny than regular comedy, and less good than regular music. But it's weird coming back and revisiting it because I have such strong feelings for these songs. I do kind of wonder how much they hold up, but for me, there's a lot of love in my heart for them. I used to watch all of these songs on repeat. I hope you had fun going back and rewatching these videos with me. I hope you aren't mad at me for talking a little bit of trash on these songs. I hope that any vegans in my audience aren't too upset with me right now. If you liked this video, then kiss your girl for me. Live the life I never could. Enjoy the feeling of sunlight. Hear the sound of birds in the air. Help me commit tax fraud. The world is your oyster. Have a good day.